Good morning, my friends. My name is Lama Jigme. This is the Buddha Joy Meditation School. And today we're going to discuss how to damnation-proof your meditation. But first, I'll take a quick moment to remind you to find the red subscribe button and click that, while also finding the little icon button and clicking that bad boy as well. That way you won't miss the next video. A good-hearted viewer of one of my videos in a comment wrote me of her enthusiasm to meditate, but her reticence, for she felt that I was telling everyone they had to become a Buddhist, and she did not wish to abandon Jesus. And I completely respect that. There are many members of the patriarchy who are all about controlling others and disempowering others. I'm not enthusiastic about that. I'm enthusiastic about the matriarchy, about happy in, about live and let live. So I'm not here to undermine people's empowering beliefs. People believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Fine. People believe in the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. All right. If people believe in Allah and his Prophet Muhammad, okay. I have no problem with that. If someone wants to believe, or someone does believe in any members or the entirety of the Hindu pantheon, all right. And the same is true for other pantheons or deities embraced by various cultures. It's not my job to belittle or mock other people's faith. It's not my job to steal faith. I find that to be an act of violence, which I'm not about. Now, is Buddhism a religion? We have to ask, religion that we see today in Buddhism, rituals, chanting, offerings, bows, was this ever Buddha's intention? Well, we can look at the historical Jesus, or at least the Jesus that we see in literature, for I do not possess a time machine. And when I see the Jesus depicted in the four Gospels, I think he would have a very tough time with ministers begging, well, I should say, wealthy ministers of mega churches, begging for money, or, palace-like structures in his name. I don't think he'd be delighted with that. I think he'd be much more comfortable with people's physical and spiritual needs being met, dignified and sustainable manner. I may be mistaken. I'm far from omniscient. As a Buddhist scholar, I can tell you with a certain degree of certainty that if the Buddha that we see in statue and that we see in very old writings was a real person and not merely an archetype, I don't think he would be delighted at all chanting or offerings or bowings, to paraphrase the English translations of the writings of the Tibetan yogi, Dzogchen Rinpoche. He would see them as complications, as contrivances, which obscure the true essence of the path. In Buddha's day, if he really did exist, there are already religions. There was no deficit of religion in the North India of Buddha's time. Just this camera here. That's not working. There were already Vedas, there were already Upanishads, there were already temples, there were already priests, there were already shrines, they called them ears. There were already offerings, there were already songs, there were already praises, there were already rituals. India did not have deficiency of any of those. And there were already ascetics and there were already contemplatives. My understanding is that Buddha was simply a contemplative with a very good bullshit detector. He was not concerned about mystical powers or where he was going to take rebirth in his next life, if there was one. What he was concerned with, quite simply, was with the systemic suffering he saw all around. On the level of the system and the level of the individual. My understanding is that he concluded that society can only be changed by transforming individuals, and that individually our suffering was threefold. We did not get what we wanted when we wanted. We did not get what we wanted when we wanted for as long as we wanted, and we had to endure things which we did not want. And the common denominator he saw was wanting or craving. And so he meditated for the purpose of being able to transcend his, from his present self of craving. He worked, he basically left a very privileged life. He found one teacher, worked very hard with him, was told he accomplished his teacher's path, was offered a teaching position. He thought, well, very nice, thank you very much. Not what he was looking for. Found a second teacher, same thing happened. Wasn't what he was looking for. Went off by himself. He found a group, or somehow either found a group of friends or people were attracted to him. Small group, all very enthusiastic meditators, very enthusiastic about asceticism. He had an epiphany that it really seemed a path to sustainability, to sustainable transcendence from craving and its consequences. So they were appalled with his epiphany and they abandoned him, quite sad. And he continued on his own. The myth tells us that eventually he completed the path on his own in approximately 7 years. And he just basically, people will come to him and they said, hey, it's not special about you, mystic. I've been unsuccessful with my meditation. Can you help me improve meditation? And he'd say, sure, I'll hook you up. He invariably taught 16 contemplations for mindfulness and insight. And he taught an additional meditations on loving kindness. Now, when you look through the corpus of his teaching, he taught a bunch of things that could be contemplated here and there, but the main thing he taught was the 16 meditations of mindfulness and insight, and those of loving kindness. There was no devotion to a deity. There was no philosophical doctrine to embrace other than, stop doing bad things, start doing good things, purify your mind. How do you purify your mind? With these two sets of 16 contemplation. So Buddha was not demanding the belief or disbelief of anything. Very simple. He was a meditator. That's a very good fortune with his meditation. People asked for help. He gave it to them. didn't sell his help, he gave it away. Enthusiasm, and because of the culture, people felt it was a good thing to either support mystics because they wanted to support good people doing good things, or because they simply hoped it would give them good fortune. But that's it. Super easy. So Buddhism, as it was originally taught, was not a religion. It's just one of many styles of meditation. Now, not all forms of meditation, but call themselves Buddhists, are taught by Buddha. In fact, most were not. Most have a deity. Many have a deity they have to worship. That's fine if you want to do that, but if you belong to a monotheistic religion, then I would not recommend that. I recommend the stuff Buddha actually taught, 16 contemplations of mindfulness. Those mindfulness. Now, it's said in the Sutta, Buddha taught with an open hand, keeping no secrets. Taught by Ben State and Gompa that we should not ransom the teaching. So, in the keeping with the idea of keeping no secrets from you, my friends, I will give you a quick run through of the 16 meditations and the contemplations of loving kindness. Now, in future videos, I'll go into detail and make sure you understand how to do them. This isn't that video. This is just showing you there's nothing in here that will send you to hell. Remember, oh friends of mine who are Jewish, that in the first book of the Bible, in the book of Genesis, when discussing the Hebrew patriarch Isaac, let's see, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, yeah, Isaac, it said that when Isaac's servant brought his potential bride, Isaac was found meditating in the field. That is not condemned anywhere in the corpus of the Bible. My friends who are enthusiastic participants, devotees of Jesus, if you possess a copy of strong, exhaustive concordance of the Bible, you will find meditation and meditating variations of the word meditate listed numerous times in the Old and New Testaments with no warning, no condemnation. So the idea of using one's mind in a peaceful way, a wise way, a transcendent way is not contrary to the body of biblical literature. Now, you can find commentaries which will say just about anything about it. But if you're looking at the source material from the point of view of a Christian, then I recommend doing a study with Strong's exhaustive concordances. Exhaust you, that you will see there are no condemnations. So now we're going to go into a screen sharing mode. I'm going to briefly give you an overview of these meditations. In the future, I'll give you an in-depth explanation. Just so you see, there's nothing that will pull you away from Jesus. There's nothing that will pull you away from the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. There is nothing that will pull you away from Allah or his prophet. Nothing at all. It's safe. Back in the 80s, there was a song called Safety Dance, or Safe to Dance. Well, my friends, it's safe to dance. Now, let's take a look. I'm going to find the, what's it called? The share screen button. Welcome to my text du jour. In ridiculous in small print, it reads Anapanasati. Now, in addition to being a winning answer in Scrabble, Anapanasati could be translated as breathing with mindfulness. No, it's not just concentrating on your breath. It's breathing in harmony with your mindfulness of anything. We'll explore that right now. That anything divides into 4 categories. And of course, there are 4 exercises in each of the 4 categories for a total of 16. So the first category is our body, because that's where our brains tend to live. The first exercise is just, and by the way, these exercises, it would be a mistake to confuse them with affirmations. Affirmations are lies we enthusiastically tell ourselves silently and verbally in hopes that they will come true. These are not meant to shape our beliefs. They're not meant to shape our perceptions. They are addressed to our, not to our own emotion, but to our volition, our intention, our will. There is something I was taught quite a while ago, and perhaps you have heard this as well. Matter is influenced by energy. So matter is influenced by energy, which is influenced by intention, which is influenced by our words, whether uttered or not. So we are using these words to gently massage our intention, to help us to better cultivate mindfulness, insight, and loving kindness that can assist our spiritual journey, regardless of what terms and titles and terminologies we embrace, language or cultures we come from. I think we all can get behind the idea of mindfulness, insight, loving kindness. So the first focus is inviting our will to embrace a long breathing. Next, we embrace short breathing. We don't force ourselves to breathe short, but in harmony with our breath, we silently and mentally recite the phrase, now breathe short, now breathe short. The gentle suggestion we're giving to our will, to our attention. Nothing heretical about it. We're practicing this very passively. It is kind of like playing in the kitchen with a blender while making a smoothie. You drop in different ingredients, and you observe the color of the smoothie shifting. Likewise, we drop these words into our bodies in harmony with our breathing, into our brain. Notice that in our experience. Let's continue. Third exercise. I'm sorry. Here we go. The third exercise. Notice form. Form is just a one-syllable synonym for body. So notice form. Whether it's pleasurable to notice our form, painful to notice our form. We've all survived the slings and arrows of adolescence. You've all seen that diabolical mirror between the entrance to the bathroom and the shower. We have to pass. That points out all our flaws. So, sometimes noticing our body is the light. Sometimes, not so much. But notice it, regardless of how we feel about it. Next is probably the first really challenging one. We suggest to our will that perhaps we could calm our form. We don't force it. We don't know how it's going to happen. We're just inviting that experience to occur, and then we move on. We may do this for 3 breaths. We might do this for 16 breaths. Advanced practitioners may do this for 48 breaths. Well, the details we'll explore later, but basically, noticing the shortness of a breath, noticing the longness of a breath, noticing our body, and inviting it to relax. Nothing heretical here. nothing about these 4 exercises that can send you to hell. Now, we talked about the 4 bases of mindfulness, and we just completed the first base of body. The third base is mind. And between body and mind, where they kind of overlap, we call feeling. We're going to explore that right now. Notice bliss. In this context, bliss means any pleasurable sensation. Some pleasurable sensations are remarkably subtle. Some pleasurable sensations are remarkably coarse, like a good massage or a great meal or, I don't know, rolling with your favorite doggy. But we are to notice that we're already so good at noticing the pain. We're so good at noticing the annoyance. But to notice where there may be bliss is a new thing. Now, keep in mind, we're running with the concept of passivity. We're not forcing ourselves to find the bliss. We're merely inviting our mind. Notice it. That's it. Silently and mentally recite, notice bliss, in-breath. Our body starts to breathe out. Again, we silently and mentally recite the phrase, notice bliss. Do this maybe 16 times if we're just starting out. How do we count to 16? Easy. Well, I'll show you my left hand, but I go out of boo-boo. So pretend this is my left hand. And we just count creases. 1, 2, 3 creases and a tip. That's 4. 1, 2, 3 creases and a tip. Oh, that's 8. 1, 2, 3 creases and a tip. Up to 12. 1, 2, 3 sets of creases, and look, a tip again. That's 16. Yes, now you can count 16 in one hand. Impress your friends. Be the life of the party. Okay. So we're noticing physical pleasure. We're not even noticing. We're inviting our mind to it. That's it. It's a very gentle process. Then we invite our mind to notice joy. What's the difference between bliss and joy? Simple. Bliss can be described as any type of physical pleasure. Joy can be described as any type of emotional pleasure. Oh, so many times in the Psalms we're told to rejoice. So, no contradiction here. What's this image? Is it a graven image? No, it's simply reminding you to sit down and meditate. It's good for you. Let's move on. The third exercise of this second set is thoughts. This is one of the scariest things to do. Most of us spend our lives running for our thoughts. Most of us spend our lives doing the adult version of placing our palms upon our ears and going, la, 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 la. I can't hear you, brain. Woo, woo, woo. I'm only thinking pure thoughts. Yeah. Nope. I never resent anybody anywhere, and I've never felt fear. Why? I can't even spell the word. Yes, that and other lies we tell ourselves in order to ignore our thoughts. We just notice what's going on. Or in this case, invite our mind to notice the thoughts that are already there. That's the exercise. Silently and mentally reciting notice thoughts on the in-breath. Silently and mentally reciting notice thoughts on the out-breath. And it's kind of like going to the movies. You know, you go to the movies, you pay your $20 for a ticket. I remember when it was $3. You pay your $20 for a ticket, you sit down, you eat your stale popcorn, you drink your soda, or in my case, your water, and you watch the movie. And you can watch the movie while eating popcorn and drinking soda, yet still watching the movie. Likewise, we can sit there and passively notice whatever we're experiencing in our environment, in our body, in our mind, while silently and mentally reciting these words in harmony with our breathing. And we come to the fourth exercise of the second set of exercises, calming thoughts. You see a pattern here? First, in the previous set of 4, we noticed our body, and then we calmed our body. Now we've noticed our thoughts, and we're calming our thoughts, but we're not doing it actively. Simply by reciting the phrase calming thoughts, silently and mentally, in harmony with our breathing, it takes care of itself. You do these exercises for 16 breaths every morning and every evening. It'll take you about 20 minutes or so. You can work up to it. If you do that, you will notice that effect. Whether you like physics or whether you like the Bible, we live in a universe of consequences. Things are affected by other things, and things affect other things. Sometimes overtly, sometimes subtly, sometimes immediately, sometimes eventually, sometimes overtly, sometimes subtly. I repeat myself. Sometimes, directly, other times indirectly, but live in an interdependent universe. Whether you believe in string theory, whether you believe in Newtonian physics, whether you just observe the world as reported to your brain, your five senses, live in a world. The worm crawls across the sidewalk, the bird eats it, the bird eats that bird, the cat eats the bird. Everything is affected by everything. Oh, how ironic. Simply by playing with these words in harmony with our body, in harmony with our breathing, in a relaxed, passive, non-aggressive way. Observe change. Let's continue. As promised, the first set of the four bases of mindfulness was body, the second was feelings, now comes mind. But wait, what about thoughts? How do thoughts reach to the mind? What? What if thoughts were to the mind as puffy white clouds were to the blue sky? Oh, that's different. Let's move on. First of four exercises concerning the mind is not a big surprise. We're suggesting to our will that it may wish to notice its own mechanism. Sometimes we notice beautiful things. Sometimes we notice grotesque. Sometimes we notice pretty little lies we tell ourselves. Sometimes we notice ugly little lies we tell ourselves. Our job is not to judge, condemn, or control. Our job is to enjoy the show. Let's continue. Gladden the mind. Well, that's a welcome respite from the grotesqueries that occur between our ears every day. Then we focus the mind, which is a little bit kind of like, you may feel it squeezing. Kind of like, that's what concentration, that's the only exercise out of 16 where we flirt with concentration. Or actually, we just invite the mind to concentrate. Then, kind of like, you know how when you're about to sneeze, you can feel things tighten up, and then, shoo, there's a release. Of course, bite, maybe a tooth. Likewise, after inviting the mind to constrict, you've been invited to relax and free. It's like the way you feel after a really good. And that concludes the four exercises. Now we come to the fourth and final set of the which is phenomena. That sounds very spooky. It sounds mysterious. It's not. All we're going to focus on is change. Why the ancient Chinese, an entire book of change is called the I Ching, but that is completely different. So we are now inviting the mind to notice part of us resist change. Is, as Agent Smith said in The Matrix, inevitable. Or at least he used the word. I love Agent Smith. He is so much. If you have to do speech therapy, I recommend just imitating. He pronounces every syllable, whether it is there or not. So, invite your mind, feel the changes that we normally try to ignore, that we normally try to resist. Every parent For every parent that has ever held a newborn baby, caressed its cheek, has stood in horror to see that little baby, that sweet adoring toddler, become an angry adolescent who is embarrassed by everything their parents do, think, or say. But that change is inevitable. Let's continue. So we're inviting our mind to feel the changes that are boring. And when things change, they fade. Darkness at dawn, darkness fades into night. At dusk, light fades into nighttime. Fade is hard to change, whether it's visual, auditory, or olfactory, gustatory, or sensory, or cognitive. Fading is part of change. It is simply a component. Let's continue. Feel ceasing. When things change, some things start, other things stop. They pause, they stop forever. So we're not told to make things cease. We're not told to believe in ceasing. We're just inviting our mind to notice. Not just noticing it intellectually, but noticing it viscerally. Giving our mind permission to feel it. The 16th meditation, is feel release. Or simply release. The releasing is taking place whether we notice it or not, but by allowing our mind to notice the releasing. It always takes place. Every time you felt your release, every time you breathe out your release, every time you urinate your release, every time you defecate your release. Every day your body releases billions of cells through the various means of excretion. Every day you walk and you take a step forward, you're releasing a step behind you. Release is natural. We find the irony is by playing with these 16 exercises of mindfulness, insight occurs spontaneously and viscerally. Kind of like puberty. No one has to try to go through puberty. This happens all by itself. You know, kind of like a natural catastrophe. Now, I promised you a wee bit of the loving kindness. I'm going to jump ahead in the text. Let's see. Control and 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So I promised you 16, and 16 is just 4 times 4. So the first of the 4 topics is safety. Who doesn't want safety? Everyone. And so in one of the Metta Suttas that are attributed to Buddha, it is written, first fill a quarter of the world with loving kindness, half the world with loving kindness, then 3/4 of the world with loving kindness, and then, yes, you guessed it, the entire world with loving kindness. Now, in my hubris of my youth, I thought, ha, I know much better than Buddha. I'll just send good things to everyone, to all beings, everywhere, all the time, because that's how I roll. But nope, meditating that is not nearly as effective as the step-by-step process. So on the in-breath, we silently mentally recite in harmony with the breathing, safe for some, safe for some. And then safe for half, out breath, safe for half. Safe for most, safe for most. Safe for all, safe for all. Now, if we only stayed with this, it would be elite. But as we gradually walk from some to half to most to all, we experience what I specifically call divine impatience, or our enthusiasm for all beings everywhere to experience this good thing. So the second variation of these 4 exercises is help. Some, half, most helpful of all. The peace, joy. All these ideas are found in the Bible. The idea of wishing others well, the idea of wishing others safety, of wishing them health, wishing them peace. I think it's Ephesians that mentions the peace that passes all understanding. Good stuff. Of course, joy. We already mentioned. So I have no secrets from you. This text, or a text rather similar to it, is available for free download on my website. You don't have to sign up for the, oh gosh, what's it called? Newsletter. It's all free, no strings attached. Got questions? Great. Email me or write me a comment in any video, and in time I'll get back to you in the form of a video and strive to answer. Let's see, let's go back up here. This is a lovely image. Now you might say, hey, there's an image of two Buddhas making love. What's up with that? Well, that's a, let's see, that's the word eludes me at the moment. That's a standard in Buddhist tantric art. It can mean many things to many people. I see no problem with consensual intimacy, and I think it can be a beautiful thing. I think that repression can be a dangerous thing. Behind me, let me stop the share screen. You'll see an image of a figure, seems to be a woman, she's green. Now, some people treat this as a god to be worshipped or a goddess to be worshipped. When you use a fancy term, Sattva or Buddha or Light Being or Yidam, whatever. Personally, I just like the idea of girl power. There are a lot of patriarchs who say women can't become Buddhas. Personally, I've been kicked out of monasteries for being a rational vegan feminist, insisting that women are as capable as becoming Buddhas as men are. No better, no worse. It depends. There's an advantage on the individual, not the gender. Because no, some people are gifted in some areas than others. Well, there you have it. A damnation-proof path of meditation. It requires no energy work. It requires no beliefs. It requires no faith. It requires no doubt. It requires no invocations, frustrations, no rituals, no ceremonies, no spooky chanting. So, my friend, any member of any religion, of any culture, provided we speak the same language, can use these techniques. If they can find a translator, they don't even have to speak. Yes, I might dress unusually. Of course, if you Google image Tibetan yogis or Chinese yogis, you'll find people who are remarkably similar to myself. So I might look spooky, but I assure you, you can traverse this path of meditation, a path that sparked so many results in the sphere corner of the Northeast so many centuries ago, that statues of the individual attributed to be the founder of this technique found every populated continent. That's kind of cool. That's kind of neat. So if you are curious about this, I'm happy to entertain your questions. Welcome to watch all the videos you want, but not too much at one time. You'll get such a headache. If you've enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up and share it with your pals on social media. If you've enjoyed this, you are welcome to support the Buddha Joy Meditation School on Patreon. The link is below. If you have any additional questions about meditation, please submit them to me in the commentary below. You and yours. Where's the